Members were formed a quorum and it's also the appointed time. I call the meeting to order. Since the last meeting, the Secretariat has not received or issued any information papers. Well, date of our next meeting and items for discussion. The next meeting is scheduled for the 10th of July at 2:30 p.m. And we have two proposals from the Administration: Progress Report on Digital Inclusion and updates on the work and latest development of Radio Television Hong Kong. This Friday, we're going to pay a visit to RTHK. But before we go to that, members, do you have any other suggestions for our next meeting? If not, then our RTHK visit. We are going to pay a visit to RTHK from 9:30 to 12:45 p.m. this Friday. RTHK is the mouthpiece of the Hong Kong government, and so we do care for the work of the RTHK. EQ, let's go along together. The third item on the agenda is funding proposals for supporting the development of startups and promotion of digital transformation. Now, we have only got one item, so I'm pleased to say that we'll be able to finish quite early today. Can we invite the administration and representatives from the Cyberport to come in? Will members who wish to speak press the request to speak button first? And then there will be a PowerPoint presentation from the administration. And let me remind you, if you have any pecuniary interest that you have to declare, do so in accordance with ROP 83A. And before you speak on that item, you have to declare the nature of interest involved, if you have any. Right. We will start our discussion after the administration and Cyberport have settled down. Welcome. Welcome, Under Secretary, and also the Commissioner. Over to you. Thank you, Chair. I&T is a major impetus to foster high-quality development. President Xi, in his speech made last July 1st, talked about the country's support for Hong Kong to develop into an important I&T hub. And then at the 20th National Congress report, it is said that we must enhance our ecosystem and enhance our innovation advocacy. This government launched the Innovation and Technology Development Blueprint last year, so that Hong Kong will be an international I&T center along 4 directions. Among them, we have to develop I&T, enhance our I&T system, and promote digital economy development. And the FF, in his 2023-24 report, announced that $265 million will be reserved for the Cyberport to take forward a dedicated incubation program for smart living startups. Another $500 million for a pilot scheme to assist small and medium enterprises in applying ready-to-use basic digital solutions to facilitate digital transformation. Together with representatives of the Cyberport, we're going to brief members on the details of the two programs, including the beneficiaries and also the mode of operation. We'd like to consult members' views on the two programs. I now give the floor to Mr. Peter Yan, CEO of Cyberport, to present the two programs to the panel. Myself and my colleagues are more than happy to take questions from members. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Yan. Thank you, Chair, and members of the panel. Good afternoon. I will first do a presentation on the incubation program for smart living startups, and then we'll go on to the pilot scheme to help digital transformation of SMEs. First, on the incubation program for smart living startups. For your information, Cyberport has got a smart living cluster. Is in fact the biggest cluster in Cyberport, with over 700 companies covering different applications such as health, technology, smart mobility, etc. They are very popular and well received by the industry, and we have seen many successful cases. For instance, 6 unicorns have been nurtured by Cyberport. 2 of them are from the Smart Living cluster. We're grateful to the administration's support. The intention of the incubation program is to let members of the public feel the use of INT to promote smart living. With $265 million, it will strengthen our cluster. They can further develop and get stronger. The incubation program will cover areas such as health, technology, gerontology, smart mobility, and ESG, green technology, etc. Now, for details of the scheme, this is to continue with our Smart Living incubation program. In the coming 5 years, we are going to benefit 90 eligible startups in the area of smart living. There will be 450 startups in our cluster as a result. Each will be able to receive up to $500,000 of subsidy. Of course, it's not just about providing funding. More important still is to help them to develop better, and they can have solutions to nurture talents, and we have value-added services, including mentorship matching and assistance for going to the market and helping them to promote their products to places outside Hong Kong, to take part in conferences, and to ensure that their smart living solutions can be used. And through matching with enterprises, we can use our own enterprises network and investors networks, and also a technical partner network to enhance their viability. So much so about our incubation program for smart living startups. I will now go on to our digital transformation support pilot program. For the background of the $500 million, now we are going to focus on SMEs, which are the backbone of Hong Kong's economy. They account for a very important portion of our economy. Very often, SMEs have various difficulties in digital transformation. They don't know where to start. They don't have enough funds. They are not familiar with solutions available, and therefore they need more assistance to carry out transformation. According to the industry, according to business associations of SMEs, they do have the need for digital transformation. They are facing bottlenecks in their development. Under the scheme, we hope to help SMEs that have never applied INT in their business. Of course, some of them may not be totally ignorant about the use of INT. It's just that they have little experience with the use of INT, so we will focus on SMEs that need our assistance most. Together with INT support programs available from the government, this will be a starting point to assist SMEs to complete their basic I&T solutions matching. This is a one-on-one matching scheme so that they can also be actively involved in the process. An eligible company can receive up to $100,000. So they have to pay $50,000, and then the government will pay the remaining $50,000 for the solution. We want to target at sectors that can benefit most under the program. We have consulted the Digital Economy Development Committee chaired by the Financial Committee, and we've done some market research. We understand that the food and beverage industry and the retail industry are the industries that can benefit most from the program. And members of the public can also feel the benefits of I&T when patronizing these sectors. For F&B, as of last year, they have got over 80,000 SMEs, employing 380,000 employees, the second after the import and export sector among the SMEs. So they will be the target beneficiaries under the program. Now, as I said, the Digital Economy Development Committee has done some research, and we have the following suggestions. Of course, they are still preliminary in nature. We have to liaise very closely with the industry in order to have further suggestions from them to see whether the program can be further enhanced. In terms of online promotion and also marketing and payment and point of sales and customers management and discounts, I think solutions in these areas are most useful to them. I'm sure you can understand that for SMEs, it's important for them to help them to increase revenue and save money. We're going to cover different categories. We are going to cover subscription-based solutions as well. So we will not just cover traditional installation of hardware and software. We also want to help SMEs in the selection of solutions to streamline procedures. As I said, many of them have little exposure of I&T in the past, and they don't know how to choose the right solution. So one feature of the program is we will have a mechanism operated by Cyberport. Will first select solutions from solution providers, and they will be provided to SMEs in the form of different packages. The F&B industry and the retail industry can choose, and there will be a list of such solutions with the prices listed, and so they can choose solutions of good track record with good after-sale support. As I said, we want to make it as easy and convenient as possible, so we will provide different solution packages. And of course, by that I mean a website whereby SMEs can choose the solutions that suit them most. Of course, we will also provide assistance. We will set aside manpower and resources to facilitate the use of the program by SMEs, and During implementation, we will also have monitoring and regular reviews to see how they are doing. And as I mentioned, we want to lessen their administrative burden as far as possible. And after they have paid their share of the cost, payment from the government will be made to the suppliers. So that's how the program is going to work. Hopefully, we can achieve the following. We hope to be able to support 8,000 SMEs in the F&B and retail industries to enhance their knowledge of INT and digital solutions. Hopefully, we can boost their productivity, and then they can apply for other subsidies from the government to assist their further digital transformation. That's all from me.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, there are 7 colleagues who wish to speak. I'll read their names: Mr. Chen Su-hung, Elizabeth Kwok, Lam Chen-sing, Tang Fei, Xiu Ka-fei, Dennis Leung, Chan Kim-po. Including the questions and answers, 4 minutes. Mr. Chen Su-hung, please. Thank you, Chair. For SMEs, because of their scale, if they wish to perform digital transformation, it is often very difficult for them. So with the $500 million scheme to provide basic solution packages to SMEs to facilitate digital transformation, I'm definitely in support of that. I have a few questions. In paragraph 9 of the paper, the government has, through multiple initiatives, tried to help SMEs. In terms of subsidies, there's tech vouchers, there's the BUD fund, as well as the anti-epidemic fund, etc. In terms of support, there's also the DIY portal from the Productivity Council. So with this $500 million program, what is the difference between it and the schemes that I mentioned? Is there going to be any overlap? And why is Cyberport responsible for that? I'm not saying that Cyberport is not competent, but why designate Cyberport instead of, say, the Productivity Council to handle this program? That's my first question. Next. From what I know, they are charging $50 million in terms of administrative costs for the program. And I think that is quite expensive because it is said that the Cyberport would upload the solutions onto the website, making them available for SMEs to choose the package. So what is the role of Cyberport exactly? Will they consider the needs for SMEs in terms of digital transformation? Well, they only have 2 minutes left. We'll have adjustments if necessary. Undersecretary, please. Well, thank you, Mr. Chen. Thank you for your concern. Mr. Chen mentioned several schemes, DIY portal, BUD fund, and so on. With this program specifically, we are targeting SMEs with limited or no exposure to technology. That is the biggest pain point with them because they have great difficulty in looking for the right solutions. So the Cyberport is providing the solutions for them to choose. They are ready-to-use solutions, easy to use, and the prices are explicitly stated for F&B and retail industries. the SMEs in these industries, they do not have to go through the procedure of comparing prices. They can just select the solutions. Also, due to manpower restrictions and their limited exposure to technology, SMEs may not be able to have IT companies to provide tailor-made solutions for them. Also, during the process, the solutions may not be suitable for their needs and their prices may be out of their range. So this program, Cyberport, would take the role of being an assessor to see if the solutions are suitable for SMEs. Also, they can help with SMEs in terms of internal and external promotion with the Bud Fund. Cyberport is the largest flagship organization for internet and communications technology. They have been helping local companies adopt technology in their applications. They also have expertise and dedicated teams to facilitate such support. So Cyberport has its advantage in this regard. They're also very experienced and they can help roll out this scheme. In future, we will actively promote the development of digital economy in Hong Kong, and Cyberport will play a great role in that. Now, with the administrative costs being $51 million, as I said earlier, Cyberport would have to assess over thousands of solutions, and as we said, we are trying to help at least 8,000 enterprises. There's also promotion involved. The manpower and other resources have been included in the administrative costs. Next, Elizabeth Quat. Thank you, Chair. I support this proposal of the two programs. In terms of support, I think we need that and I think Cyberport is a good company to do that because over the past few years, I can see that the Cyberport has done great work. Or if the incubator program can help 90 smart living startups and that per year, and that would be ideal. Such startups would involve health technology, smart mobility, and so on, and they are very important to people's quality of living. Now, I think there are some points to note. With larger companies, because they have already adopted ESG, I think Cyberport should remind these startups that ESG is an important concern. Also, since such technologies are very relevant to people's living, I hope that the testing can be done in communities, therefore, so that the ideas can be realized and they can be applicable to daily lives. With the pilot program, I think that is a very good program as well, because that is of paramount importance to whether SMEs can survive in future. Now, F&B and retail industries have been designated as the priority industries for the program. For industries that may have already adopted technologies, however, they may still face difficulties, like the hotel industry. They have been using computer systems, but due to manpower shortage, they cannot reserve rooms for visitors. So we heard in the rest of the world there are now unmanned hotels. Is that something that we can look into? Perhaps not in this program. However, in future, the administration can think about that to have dedicated projects. For certain enterprises, they are still using traditional payment methods, or some factories that would want to have digital transformation. I hope that the administration can roll out similar programs for those industries and enterprises, because the enterprises wouldn't have to go to the providers on their own and look for their own solutions, and I believe that would be very beneficial for them as well. Now, Chair, with the funds disbursement on this for this program, I think that is very innovative because the funds would be disbursed directly to the solutions provider. Well, how is it possible? How can you make sure that the SMEs have already paid the solutions providers, and would perhaps the solution providers have a separate account for each SME? And how can you audit the accounts? Your question is very long and I didn't stop you. Well, some of them are comments. Acting Secretary, please. I'll give a brief answer. First of all, thank you, Ms. Quat, for mentioning ESG. ESG is indeed one of the biggest trends. Cyberport will enhance training provided to SMEs or the enterprises in Cyberport. Cyberport has also been liaising with various companies, networks, investor networks to form a bigger network so as to create more business opportunities. Now, the Cyberport has also worked with district organizations to test certain prototypes. This is something that we're looking into for this program as well. Based on the allocation of resources, we have designated F&B and retail industries as priority industries for the program. Within 6 months after the first phase of the program, we will review the mode of operation of the program to see if any adjustments are needed. Next, with funds disbursement, I'll let the CEO of Cyberport to talk about it briefly. Well, with the solutions providers under the program, the providers have to provide information on the SMEs that have acquired solutions from them before we'll release the funds. It's not that we'll pay them right away after the SME has acquired a solution from them. It is only after the SMEs have a satisfactory solution that they will be paid. Next, Mr. Lam Chen Singh. Next, with the incubator program, is there an overlap with the Cyberport incubation program, such as the criteria? For example, whether it has to be incorporated for less than 7 years, or are there any requirements in relation to the product? Is there any overlap? Next. It was said that professional support would be provided. Of course, that is desirable, but how does that work exactly? It was said that drone technology would be included, and this is beneficial. We already have a 1 billion fund for residential care homes for the elderly to adopt technologies. But I think that has not been implemented successfully due to gaps in liaison. Will this program help with during technology adoption or any assistance that can be provided to residential care homes for the elderly? The third question is about the digital transformation pilot program. From what I understand, you are targeting two industries, that is the F&B industry and the retail industry. Now, for the F&B industry, for the large-scale chain restaurants, they may already have their own systems. And I think for the smaller companies, they have adopted the applied to the tech voucher scheme. So is this program actually going to benefit a lot of the SMEs in the F&B industry? Another question of mine is related to what was said by Ms. Quat earlier. I believe many SMEs in other industries can benefit from this. However, I do understand that due to the limitation of resources available, you're targeting the two industries first. However, if there are not enough companies in the F&B and retail industries that can fill this scheme, would you consider companies from other industries to apply to the program? 3 questions. Thank you, Chair.
Secretary, thank you. For the first and second question that relate to smart living, I will defer to the CEO. And as for the digital transformation pilot scheme, I thank Mr. Lam for his support. Let me supplement. Given resources available, we will focus on 2 industries first. But for other SMEs in various industries, we do have our support measure as well. That is the technology voucher. Each enterprise can receive up to $600,000 under the scheme. If there are enterprises who would like to apply technology for upgrading and transformation and for digital development, they can use the technology voucher. The scheme is run by Cyberport. Within 6 months after the first disbursement of or first approval of the first batch of application, we will review the program. Our intention is to assist more SMEs in digital transformation. CEO, thank you. The first question is, how is the scheme different from the current incubation program? To put it simply, after many years of running our own incubation program, we have already nurtured over 1,000 startups. We have been enhancing our program with the recognition of the industry. For this incubation program, as mentioned by members, we would like to focus on smart living so that ordinary members of the public can feel the benefit of INT through smart living solutions. So we are working on the basis of our current incubation program. We will follow the workflow and strengthen our incubation program for smart living. We'll enhance our services in areas such as sharing technology. The member might have come across the situation whereby these companies may not easily get in touch with the relevant technology companies. So through Cyberport and using our own enterprise and investor networks and also our networks in professional services and partners, we will do the matching themselves. There is no need for them to go look for these companies. It's not easy for them, but according to our experience, we have assisted, for instance, the government in launching district health centers. We took the initiative to approach relevant organizations to introduce the use of germ technology in the community. We're successful in helping these enterprises to find business, and this is what we've been doing in the community. So we've built on our past success. We want to enable members of the public to enjoy the benefits of smart living. Mr. Tang Fei, thank you, President. With regard to incubation, the incubation program from Cyberport. Now, in electrical brief, or the background brief by the Secretariat, they're going to cover education technology. They have assisted 760 startups. Can you give us a breakdown of these startups? I'd like to know their respective numbers in healthcare technology, education technology, and e-commerce. E-learning was actively promoted during the epidemic. Even Chinese primary and secondary schools are using INT to assist teaching and learning. Even though I haven't done any research, I don't feel a lot of education technology being promoted in schools. I think most of the solutions used are from Microsoft or Google. I don't know whether we have any Hong Kong developed software or solution in education technology being used in the city. And para 7 of the government's paper said that the assessment will be conducted by an external independent vetting team, and applications will then be recommended to the Entrepreneurship Committee under the Cyberport's Board of Directors. No one will question the administration in vetting, but I'd like to know the composition of the independent vetting team, because whether an application can be successful will depend on whether the vetting team or people in the know, if they have expertise, then it's important. We have developed unicorns ourselves, but I'd like to know whether they have been sustainable. If you look at Nikkei's report as at April this year, only 1/10 of the unicorns were still in operation. For the rest, they might have closed down. I think we have a Ting Labs in 2019. It collapsed in 2019, unfortunately. So using public money to nurture startups, I'd like to know whether you have assessed their sustainability. In fact, I can find it out myself by looking at the financial report. Thank you. Mr. Yan from Cyberport. Thank you. Whether we have got any locally developed education technology tools. During the past few years of epidemic, we have greatly enhanced the acceptability and application of education technology in schools. As mentioned by Mr. Tang, prior to the epidemic, we had such development, but they were not widely accepted. But then during the epidemic, there was no choice. As a result, education technology, which were rarely used in school, got accepted. And post-epidemic, there is still a sustained demand for education technology because online teaching and learning is already an INT application, and many companies provide such solutions. And after students, when students are using online platform, there are a lot of demands and new needs arising. For instance, teachers are using video, image analysis, product being provided by our startups. Teachers can then use AI, big data, etc. to assess the involvement of the teachers. So locally, we provide the tools. Applications are mainly locally developed. We can share with members further information in different areas. Can you provide us with the list so members can have a better idea? Apart from the 2 brand names mentioned, for instance, you can tell us that there are 20 other. Please note the time. We have spent more than 5 minutes on this. Yes, the second question, I will reply briefly. And that is the composition of the vetting committee. As mentioned by Mr. Tang, we have people in the industry who know the application of such products. We will also invite stakeholders to join the team, whether we are talking about business associations of software solution providers or representatives from SMEs, from the F&B industry and retail industry as well. There will be representatives from different stakeholders. Of course, they will not be given a free hand by Cyberport. We will give them guidance for their assessment. For instance, there are technical specifications, and they must be able to attain or achieve those specifications before they will be chosen. For instance, there must be system interface. Data must be able to be retrieved so that after using it, our SMEs can turn to another application or use an enhanced version and still the data is preserved. We'll have guidelines on all such matters. Mr. Xu Kafai, thank you, Chair. First, I'd like to indicate my support for the incubation program for smart living startups. It's going to benefit 90 enterprises with $265 million. With wider application of INT, of course, I support this program. I just feel that 90 startups and also $500,000 each is on the low side. I hope we can provide them with more money. And the second program is digital transformation that will cover F&B and the retail industries. I thank the Bureau and the CEO. We had a meeting with the CEO together with Mr. Tommy Cheung, representative from the F&B industry. I am from the retail industry. I also welcome this program. But take note that you can use the money for online promotion, point of sale and payment systems, and customer management and discount systems. And the system, the funding is on a 1-to-1 matching basis. If the user has chosen a certain solution, and if it costs $100,000, the user has to pay $50,000. Now, for the technology voucher scheme, the maximum amount is $600,000. And the business association will pay the user will foot 25% of the bill, and the government will pay the remaining 75%. There's no ruling out that some companies can develop cheaper solutions, and it is less than $100,000. Perhaps people will go for the community voucher scheme because there the ratio, the funding ratio is 1 to 3. Here is 1 to 1. So can you make it 1 to 3 as well?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for your support, Mr. Xu. Especially with the pilot program, you have given us valuable advice. You mentioned whether we can do 1 to 3 matching ratio. Well, for this program, we have earmarked $500 million. We want to help as many enterprises as possible. Right now, we expect that 8,000 SMEs will benefit from the program. That's why we have adopted the 1-to-1 matching ratio. Also, this program is about providing ready-to-use basic digital solutions, and therefore their amount is not as high. They do not cost as much, because they are not tailor-made solutions. For tailor-made solutions, they often cost more. That's why on this occasion, because they are ready-to-use solutions, we have adopted the 1-to-1 matching ratio. To promote the development of digital economy, it requires the concerted efforts of the government and the industry and other stakeholders. For this program, I think this program acts as a starting point. If SMEs find the solutions beneficial, they can apply to technology vouchers so that they can continue to use technology to increase their productivity. All right, thank you. Next, Mr. Dennis Leung. Thank you, Chair. My first question is about the incubation program for smart living startups. Is the program for companies that are developing breakthrough products or startups that have already existed for quite some time? My second question is about the $500 million program. It was said that a 1-to-1 matching ratio would be adopted to facilitate transformation. I have a suggestion. It's hard for SMEs to find the right digital solutions for them. There are some providers that are quite well known. However, there may be quite a lot of options, and SMEs may not be familiar with who is good. I used to work for schools to scout for the right solutions. When there are new functions added to the package, they have to pay again. So it's like an unending cycle. How is the administration going to deal with that problem? Well, the market is not too large, yet not too small. How can you make sure that they will not collude with each other to set the prices? How can you make sure the prices are competitive and they will not fix the prices. How can the administration resolve that or deal with that issue? Now, for certain Chinese restaurants, they have already been using systems for ordering. However, they stopped using because certain customers do not know how to use them. They may have thought they have made an order, but they didn't actually make the order, and it would cause disputes among the staff and customers. So they stopped using the system. So would you require SMEs to use the solutions for a certain number of years to make sure there's no wastage of public money spent? How is the administration going to act as a gatekeeper in that regard? Thank you. Acting Secretary, please. Thank you, Chair. Well, for the first and second questions, I'll let the CEO of Cyberport answer that. For the third question regarding price fixing, I believe many legislative members are quite concerned about that, and we'll look into that closely. Well, a 1-to-1 matching ratio is adopted. That means that the SME itself has to pay as well. Now, there are hundreds of companies that are going to provide solutions. And as we said, prices are explicitly stated and they are quite transparent, and that information will be published on the website. We believe in doing so, the competition is quite fair. So that's the first point. My second point is that Cyberport will conduct assessments beforehand, and they will be aware of prices in the market before. If they have observed that the solutions provided do not maximize social benefits, they will not approve such proposed solutions to be published. We will also have legal experts look into the relevant laws in relation to competition. We'll also have antitrust laws. After that, in relation to how to make sure SMEs will use the solutions, as we said, SME will pay part of the payment. Also, the funds will be released in installments. If they are not satisfied, we will no longer disperse payments. Also, how can we make sure SMEs can use the solutions and apply the solutions to their businesses appropriately? Cyberport will hold seminars and will liaise with relevant trade associations to facilitate SMEs in their digital transformation. Cyberport also require providers to provide support for SMEs. That includes after-sales support. So it's not just that we would want SMEs to install the solutions. We hope that they will actually use the solutions. We'll also hold demonstrations for SMEs to apply the solutions. Well, Chair, Secretary, you have provided quite a lot of information. Since you have been quite excited in sharing such information, I'll give you another minute for the Cyberport CEO to answer the remaining questions. Now, in relation to what Mr. Dennis Leung said, it is indeed an innovative solution. They need to provide new solutions. They cannot use existing solutions in their applications. Now, with new functions, whether they will charge SMEs again, well, we've seen a lot of such instances when they think the system is beneficial and they want new functions added and new functions will then added. That is what we do want to see because they are using it well. However, we do not want to see companies charging the SMEs unreasonably. If they are indeed doing so, we have technical requirements in place so that the providers are providing the functions necessary. Well, our meeting is supposed to end at 3:30. I'll extend the meeting by 15 minutes for now. Next, Mr. Chen Kinpo. Well, I'll focus on the pilot program. It was said that there will be over 1,000 providers. However, that is quite a lot for SMEs to choose from. Will you help them by providing, say, rankings or user reviews? Because it would be hard for them to make a choice without any of those. Also, if the functions of the applications are going to similar, would you recommend those provided by local companies so that local companies, tech companies, can benefit from the program as well? Now, it was said that a dedicated website would be set up. How can you make sure the prices wouldn't be more expensive than those provided on their own websites or other channels? Because right now you're providing essentially at half price to SMEs, but we need to make sure the prices are indeed competitive. In relation to price fixing, you need to also make sure that won't happen. For questions, I'll let the CEO of Cyberport answer the questions. It was said that there will be over 1,000 providers and there will be approximately 100 odd solutions. And I believe a single company will propose more than one solution. So I would agree that, as Mr. Chen said, the administrative costs are high because we wish to help SMEs pick the right solutions for them. This is to facilitate their decision. And that is exactly what is different from our existing programs. As you may know, the mission of Cyberport is to promote and help local startups. In facilitating digital transformation, we're not only considering local solutions as a result. However, for these basic solution packages, many of those are from local tech companies. A member has also expressed concern about price fixing. Well, simply put, in the approval process, we will analyze previous prices of solutions provided by the providers. If they are unreasonable, we will not approve such projects. A reasonable step in the process is that we will evaluate the solutions they have provided before. We will also evaluate their costs and how much they're charging other people, and we'll conduct analyses in that regard.
Mr. Duncan Chiu. Thank you, Chair. The first scheme is incubation program for smart living startups. I served on the board of Cyberboard for a few years, and I support this program because indeed there is a great demand for such assistance. This is particularly so for startups. In the past, only 1 out of 4 or 5 applications was successful. So there is indeed a great demand for such assistance. And responding to what Mr. Lam Chen Sing said about the unicorns and also was reported by Nikkei, I have not heard of such a situation in the past. Now, every year we have a ranking list, annual list. Now, for 2023, there are 1,336 unicorns, up 300 unicorn 66 and US 666, then China also ranked. So there is no sign of this falling. Of course, there will be new unicorns and there will also be unicorns phased out. For the top 30 cities, we will not include Singapore, ranked the 27th with 9 unicorns. For the first 100 unicorns, DJ is related to us, but it is stationed in Shenzhen. Now, if we want more unicorns to come out, we have to help them move out of the Hong Kong market. In Hong Kong, we only have a market of 700 million, and we have our own limitations. We should encourage more startups. Now, apart from our being the 8th major center and the 4 broad directions, I think we should be more biased towards those that can go out, go global, and we shouldn't just nurture our own startups locally. For the 500 million digital transformation support pilot program, I think under the Commerce and Economic Development Bureau, there is the RETA program to help the retail enterprises. The F&B industry was excluded. I think this program is quite similar to that in nature. We can allow them to buy online subscription products. Now there are more free solutions available in the market. Now, in the past, we didn't include monthly subscription-based solutions. Now, this time they are included. If we use RETA's experience, do we accept repeated applications? For instance, for an R&D company, Sing Cosmetics is a big chain with 60 outlets. Each can be regarded as SME. Can we accept 60 applications for a big chain? So for the F&B industry, it's just the same. It may be a big chain and then different outlet comes forward to make the individual applications. In the past, only 3 applications can be approved from a chain. I'd like to know whether this time you will adopt the same methodology. Will you accept repeat applications from different outlets of chain operations? CEO, thank you. Very quick. First, on repeated applications. First, I want to thank Mr. Chiu for his views. We will see how we can help unicorns to go global. Secondly, repeated applications. Since under the scheme, we focus on SMEs and is also a very basic program. So we will first vet whether the applicant is an SME. If it belongs to a large chain operation with experience in operation, then I don't think they will be covered, because our purpose is to help SMEs that have yet to go through digital transformation or with any very limited experience. And for the large chains you referred to, Mr. Chiu, they can apply under other government programs. So we will first see whether it is a SME, and if it has got a few outlets, then we will approve it for each business registration. Mr. Low, $265 million is reserved for the incubation program for smart living startups and $500 million for the digital transformation support pilot program to assist SMEs to use ready-to-use basic digital solutions. Of course, I will support such programs. There is no reason I shouldn't. But for the second program, that is the $500 million to assess the use of basic digital solutions by SMEs. I think the program is really very basic. This is not the first time we have introduced such schemes. For instance, we have had the technology voucher in the past. Now for the information here is very basic. Online promotion, point of sale and payment systems, customer management and discount systems. For a digital city, I believe all SMEs or even micro enterprises should have adopted such solutions. Chair, we visited cities of the GBA and we could see that they have applied technology to really grassroots economic activities. Even you go to buy a piece of ginger, the hawker will ask you to pay electronically. So does it illustrate that we are very backward? We are too slow in INT development. I have been in this council for so many years. I have approved numerous similar programs. What's your response, Secretary? Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Mr. Low. We share your anxiety as well. We have proposed 3 categories after some investigation. Under the leadership of the FS, the Digital Economy Development Committee has set up working groups to carry out some investigation. And they are targeting pain points of our enterprises. And they've come up with the 3 categories. Through the program, we wish to expedite digital transformation of our enterprises. As I said, this is just a pilot scheme. With the running of this program, we hope we can expedite the development of digitalization among our industries. It's true that we have to catch up with rapid development in technology, but we have to make a start first. It's not that there are no enterprises using such solutions. It's just that the situation varies. Some are already using it quite well. Some are not using it at all. And we are talking about shops that may have only got a couple of employees. So we plan to expedite digital transformation through the program. Well, maybe we shouldn't compare ourselves with other economies. We are talking about very basic solution, and yet the program is just a pilot scheme. We don't need to go far. We just go across the border and look at the application of INT in GBA. I'm speechless. I have no further questions to ask. Well, the Secretary shares your anxiety. 3 members are waiting to speak for the first time, and Mr. Chen Xiu-hong the second time. I am still hesitating whether I should ask follow-up questions. Is there any problem if I extend the meeting by another 15 minutes? I hope we can wrap up by 4 p.m. Mr. Michael Tian. Now we are talking about support for smart living startups. We ask inexperienced young people to have their startups. Well, 9 out of 10 will go bankrupt. And we are spending $265 million to help them. I think it's quite likely that the money will go down the drains. Still, let's give it a try, and we should see how we can enhance their success rate. I have no objection to building light public housing. The question is whether there will be occupants. Right, the country is talking about AI and artificial intelligence. For sure, it will boost our GDP. And we talked about stability and prosperity. I've put this question to the secretary in the past. Very often, prosperity may not necessarily bring stability. We start INT and we talked about direct grant of land. And many overseas and mainland large enterprises may come to develop Hong Kong. They may bring their top-notch talents to come to Hong Kong. All right, we're able to help mainland enterprises to go global. What about our own young people? To have both prosperity and stability, we must ensure that our young people can jump on to this high development wagon. So only 2 or 3 out of 10 young people are top-notch talents who study INT in tertiary education. Can you not just search for mainland enterprises? You should search for them globally, because we want to be an international INT hub. And shouldn't we have a certain ratio of local and mainland or overseas talents in granting land for the operation of these enterprises? Lastly, if we want to help upward mobility of not the most outstanding young people in Hong Kong, can we ask these large enterprises or give large enterprises bonus points if they can employ local graduates? All right, if there are 3 companies that are very similar in terms of their contribution to our INT development, but if the third enterprise is willing to employ not so brilliant young people, and they may not be graduates in mathematics or science subjects. But can we do that so that we can have more jobs and upward mobility for our young people? Thank you. Mr. Michael Tian talked about the incubation program for smart living startups. Cyberport is discussing with members on how to enhance the success rate of startups. Cyberport has been quite successful in nurturing startups. About 82% of them could continue their operation after graduation. Over 75% continue to operate 5 years after graduation from their startup program. That is quite a high percentage. But as mentioned by Mr. Michael Tian, they may need more targeted support measures. So Cyberport doesn't just provide funding. They provide matching of mentors and mentees. They help them in market promotion and matching with enterprises and matching with investors, and also development of business opportunities. Cyberport is doing a lot in these areas. The third question is stability and prosperity. I understand that Mr. Michael Tian is very eager to help our young people. My question has gone beyond that of Cyberport. I am talking about giving land to overseas or international enterprises to come to Hong Kong. I think what Mr. Michael Tian said is along our main direction. We are saying that I&T must be commercialized and industrialized so that we can develop new industries. We want to develop new industries so that we have real economy in Hong Kong. We have more enterprises, not just mainland enterprises, but global enterprises. We are trawling for talents and enterprises overseas and in the mainland. We do not just want enterprises to be based in Hong Kong. Meanwhile, we are supporting our local enterprises to grow so that with more enterprises and industries, we can offer a diversity of quality jobs for our young people, and they can also have opportunities for having their own startups. As for our land grant policy at Technopole and Suntan, we are carrying out detailed study. I can fill up the details in later. Our direction is to look at the economic benefits an enterprise can bring to Hong Kong, including their tax contribution in the short and medium term, and the economic benefits, and also job opportunities for local young people. Of course, we don't want them to just employ local employees. They can introduce overseas talents to Hong Kong, because overseas talents can bring in their experience and technology to enrich our own local talent pool. We'll also see whether they come with state-of-the-art technology of their industry to help Hong Kong to be the leader of Asia, and how we can use our strength to contribute to the country's needs. We will look at all these different indicators.
Sorry, I just want to give more points to local companies to help local youth when conducting your assessments. Please take note of that, because you only have 10% or 5% of them that is of no use. Thank you, Chair. We have all along quite concerned about the development of local youth. Thank you. Next, Ms. Yong Hoi Yan. I want to ask about the pilot program. From what I know, for each eligible enterprise, the maximum funding amount is $50,000. But right now, $500 million have been earmarked, benefiting 8,000 enterprises. So each would only get $50,000. That's quite little. And they have a very detailed and stringent assessment process. They have to vet the applications. They have a project pool, and only eligible projects will be open for application. So comparing it to the incubation program, the incubation program would benefit 450 enterprises over 5 years, and for this program, they would benefit 8,000 enterprises, and the administrative costs have doubled comparing to that of incubation program. So with the assessment criteria, you are only approving $50,000 per application. So how can you make sure that the $50,000, say they have pre-approved projects on their list? If they are applying to pre-approved projects, why do they need so much in terms of administrative costs? Does the OGCIO, what is the role that they're playing? What are they doing in the program? what are their administrative costs. Also, it was said that there would be an advisory panel. Are the panel members paid? Are they paid a lot to assess the projects in the project pool? If you're spending a lot of money on that, why not just go for existing solutions in the market? Because I think $50,000 is such a small amount in comparison, and I think we are spending a lot of money to give out $50,000 to enterprises. Is there any room for improvement? Acting Secretary, the question is about administrative costs. Thank you, Ms. Young. I need to emphasize that these are two very different programs, and in terms of operations, the manpower requirements are very different. For the program, the incubator program, we would need people follow up on startups to provide tailor-made support to them. They would have value-added services, for example, helping them with promotion and expanding their networks. They would also provide tailor-made training to the startups. So for each startup, they would have a tailor-made proposal to facilitate their development. So that is quite a heavy workload. With the pilot program, we would have people looking at each proposal to see if the prices are fair, if the solutions really meet the needs of SMEs. So why is it that we are not going for solutions in the market right now? Is because we want the independent advisory panel members to look into that. Well, first of all, I'd like to mention they are not paid. Well, Chair, that is exactly what I'm saying, because most of the funds are going into the assessment of the projects. Well, what you said was quite to the point, because I think we're spending much more on administrative costs than the actual operations. Next, Mr. Lee Chen-kang. It was said that under the pilot program, 8,000 enterprises would benefit from the scheme. So do you have any figures on how many companies actually in the F&B and retail industries actually need such funds? Because from what I know, most of them already have, say, order systems in place. When you don't have enough enterprises, what are you going to do? My next question is, with restaurants, they have to apply for licenses and they have stringent requirements, such as with the bathroom and fire safety requirements, etc. Now, for retail industries, they only need a business registration to operate a shop. You don't even know if they have already had such system in place. They can perhaps change the name or change their business registration, set up a new company, and then apply for the funds again. Wouldn't that be unfair to companies in the F&B industry or other industries? So how can you make sure that people won't register new companies in the retail industry to apply for the funding? And how can you make sure that there will not be any collusion between companies? Also, for certain companies, they may be one-man band. They would need more time to deliver their products. So with their systems, they are often tailor-made. With larger factories, they can adopt solutions, or will you only provide 50,000 solutions, or if they only need $10,000 solutions, would you only provide $10,000? Now, for other industries such as transportation industry, would they be eligible for the program in future? I'll first answer the first and fourth questions, and I'll let CEO of Cyberport answer second and third questions. I want to supplement more details about manpower requirements. Well, we do not have much time. We have consulted Mr. Chu and other members before, and we do take note that SMEs in other industries would want to get such funding, and we'll look into that in future. Next, after funds disbursement in the first phase, within 6 months, we'll conduct a review to see if funding can be provided to other industries as well. However, as said, they can apply for technological vouchers as well. Well, regarding the second question, if we do not have enough funds for the applications, and I think that is what we want to see, if more than 8,000 companies apply and every one of them is getting the maximum amount that is $50,000. However, as said, not every company would get $50,000 in total. Some will get less, so we are aiming for 8,000 at least for the program. With different proposals for the tailor-made solutions. Actually, right now, because we are providing packages, we will specify the functions and prices on the website for SMEs to choose. However, we'll definitely facilitate their decision. Chair, actually, my question about how can you make sure people won't register a new company to apply for such funding? Well, 5 seconds. Well, we will need to see if they have actual operations. Well, my question is very brief. Well, Chief Mission Officer, and you and perhaps Undersecretary can go with us to Shenzhen and see how we can pay in restaurants. We can scan a QR code and pay using that QR code. We do not need any other solutions. These are ready-to-made solutions, ready-to-use solutions, and we can use them. That's why I want you, Mission Officer, well, your Chief Public Mission Officer, I want to make an appointment with you to go get some noodles in Shenzhen to see how it actually works. Talk is pointless. Let's just see how things actually work. Well, 30 seconds per person, Mr. Chen, Su Hong, and Tang Fei. Well, all right. As my colleague said, we have a clear conclusion. We do support the government in taking forward measures to facilitate digital transformation, but we are definitely lagging behind. If we don't do anything, however, that is going to be worse. Now, for certain SMEs that have already sort of transformed, if you are putting money in facilitating their digital transformation, how is it actually going to work for them? So I do support the proposal. However, whether it is successful, it would depend on having provided such one-to-one match funding. If they do not provide successful after-sales support, that money would go to waste. So I want to ask Cyberport and administration, how can you make sure that the after-sales support after 6 months and 1 year, it will still be valid for SMEs? Well, actually, it's very quick. 10 Fei, please. It's mostly about smart living, the program. Well, it would include, for example, during technology. As said earlier, Hong Kong is a small market. It may not support the operations of such enterprises. So would smart living also cover, say, living in the mainland or even overseas? Thank you.
Can you provide written responses to the 2 questions? Because we don't have any more time. All right, we have all expressed our views. We have all overrun. And I think there is no objection to the funding application. We're only concerned about the economic benefits. All right? So we support the item. All right. AOB. I would like to invite the public mission officer and also the secretary to go with me to Shamjan and have a bowl of noodles. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.